pritraukti žmonių, norisi pritraukti jaunimo. Ir mes suprantame, kad tai, kas buvo padaryta, iš tikrųjų čia įspūdingi dalykai padaryti vos ne per ketvirtį amžiaus, tačiau vietą reikia atnaujinti. Ir mums, nežinau, labai nusišypsojo laimė, kad mes žymi britų menininką, kuri tarp kitko turėjo didelę parodą ir Kaune, pasėdina objekte, tai sutiko su mumis bendradarbiauti ir mes kūrėme būtent muziejaus atnaujinimo koncepciją ir norime jums ją pristatyti.
I'm at a huge disadvantage because, much to my shame, I still have barely a word of Lithuanian after all these years, so I have no idea what Salias has told you already. So forgive me if I repeat anything, and forgive me for speaking in English. It is to my eternal shame that my inability to learn Lithuanian. So I'm really honoured to have been asked by Sugihara House to come and think again about this exhibition and how we tell this story. On the back of, as some of you may have seen, Out of Darkness, and the fact that I've spent a lot of time thinking about new ways to tell these stories. And so this is a really exciting opportunity to take this extraordinary story and an extraordinary point in time to think about how to tell it anew. So where we are is, I was asked to come and look at the ideas and to come up with an idea, and we spent some time doing that. What I'm going to show you is the proposal we've arrived at. There are some images, but it's not, I'm going to ask you to use your imaginations a little, because what I have produced is not pictures of what we're going to make. It's the idea of what we're going to make. So I'm going to talk to you about some ideas. I'm going to show you some visualizations that are not representational, but for you to think about what we may be doing. So, before we begin, the first thing I had to do to make sure my mouse is working properly. Technology, there we go. So the first thing I had to do was think of the principles on which are underpinning what we're thinking about. And I had to ask some big questions that I think it's useful for you to share with you about what we're doing here. What do we want the audience to experience? What do we want the audience to be? Who do we want them to be as visitors? And what do we want them to learn? And a slightly different question, what do we want them to understand? And I think the most important thing that we have here, the most important artifact, is a museum, and yet what we have is the building itself, the ground it stands on, the fact that these events took place in these walls and we have the privilege of standing inside them, and that it's such a beautiful space. And so first and foremost, that's the experience of being here, which I'm sure you've all had a feeling of already. And what do we want the audience to be? Do we want them just to come here and be passive observers? No, we don't. We want them to be thinkers. We want them to explore. And we want them to think about what it means to be here. It's all really important in the way in which we approach this. Yes, we want them to learn the story, but we also need them to learn the story in the context in which it happened, in this, the world of Kaunas in 1939, 1940, and all the things that were extraordinary that are relevant to us now. And what do we want them to understand? We want them to understand that it's not history about a story in another time, that it's about now, it's about us. It's about the fact that every decision we make is important and every action we take is significant. And in my more fantastical moments, this is my dream, is that people come away thinking that we each have the responsibility to change the world. That's the blue sky thinking. So this is the underpinning thing with which I came to this project. On a practical level, what do we need to do? On a practical level, we need to make sure this And in order to do that, we need to capture new audiences. But we need to increase footfall. We need more people coming through that door. We need to have a wider appeal, so it's not a niche appeal, so that everybody feels that this is here for them.